One of the latest shootings in New Orleans took place early this morning in Treme. A man had been shot there several times. There wasn't much information on what led up to the shooting, and that lack of information is something that the mayor's new gun violence task force is trying to change.
A parent who's bringing...
The mayor emphasized this will be a generational plan. Its impact may not be felt fully until after her time in office. That said, the plan is threefold. First, the city will partner with nonprofits, local universities, and other groups to gather data on what factors into gun violence and where it happens.
What may be some triggers in that area? How many blighted properties? How many vacant, overgrown lots? Are lights out there?
The second part involves improving operations at the NOPD. That includes construction of its own crime lab by 2022, which will help its investigations. Also, there will be more effort to improve its rate of solving shootings and murders.
As we demonstrate we're solving crime, people not only feel safer, they are, and therefore the trust is being built, so they give us the information so that we can be more effective at solving more crime.
And the third pillar will focus on delivering community-based services to help people in neighborhoods at risk of gun violence.
Whether you've experienced gun violence directly or indirectly, we're all impacted.
For a city that's endured decades of shootings, this initiative hopes to reduce them for the decades to come. Tan Trung, Eyewitness News.
According to the CDC, New Orleans has the fourth highest rate of gun deaths in the nation. To read the city's entire initiative on gun violence, go to WWLTV.com.